occurred upstairs. I've never done a press conference before, so I'm not exactly certain how to kick this thing off other than to thank everybody for being here that were actually in the room with us during the last hour meeting, and those of you who might have been listening online or by Zoom link. Today is obviously a pretty incredible day in the history of this building, our city, our county, the Triangle, the state of North Carolina. One of the things that we've been trying to accomplish throughout the last 16 months is to listen intently and to make certain that every single stakeholder's concerns were addressed as best we could, and to make sure that the hundreds, if not thousands of hours that we've all on the authority been dealing with and Gale Force with NC State, with other stakeholders. I think that today's the culmination of a lot of listening, and we're very proud as an authority to announce what has occurred with respect to the lease extension of the Carolina Hurricanes, in addition to a $300 million enhancement with the building itself to make sure that this building is going to be a phenomenal place for NC State athletics to continue to play in and thrive in addition to the concert tours that will be coming through for the rest of the life of this building. I don't want it to go unnoticed that this building is supposed to be here till 2096. That's a long time. But we think we've adequately made the right call in how we look at the building when it turns 45 years old. I didn't expect that I was going to start rambling like this at the outset, but what I'm going to do now, right? So yeah, so a short statement. Are there any questions anyone would like to ask? Any of us? Luke.
Hey. Boo, we've heard a lot about the Hurricanes and the authority in the arena. I'm curious, from your perspective, what are the benefits in these agreements for NC State?
Well, I think it's a great thing for us, and thanks to the city and the county for the commitment of the $300 million and the enhancement it's going to have for our student athletes, the enhancement it's going to have for our fans, and just make it a more dynamic space for us as we compete. You know, college athletics at times can be a bit of an arms race. It's kind of great to be in this relationship that we have with the Centennial Authority as well as with the Hurricanes, and we're excited about it.
Ryan.
There was talk in the meeting and in the documents about tailgating, both for NC State and the Hurricanes. Do you think you've reached a sufficient agreement on that, and are you both, is it acceptable what the plan is moving forward when it comes to tailgating?
Well, I think there's time as well in all of this, in the development, and where the development begins. And, we're fortunate here. We have north of 14,000 spots, right? And when you look at, 95% of those spots are going to be replaced on the PNC side, if you will, of the property. And 50% of those will be surface parking. That leaves another 10,000 other spots that are out there. And we've talked about this before. It's like the best and worst problem in the world to have, right? We have unbelievable parking, as good a parking as there is in college football. We're going to lose some, it's going to repurpose, but we still have an awful lot of parking, and we have time.
In regards to the PNC arena upgrades, there might be tentative plans now, but what specifics are you looking for with the building to upgrade?
Well, I think, right now, I can show you the drawings of it. There's the drawings of it.
I was about to freak out.
We've talked, it's really a vision right now of everything we've talked about. It's, number one goal is obviously the fan experience, not just for Hurricanes, but NC State and all the other events that come in here. The building, as it said, the bones of the PNC arena are in good shape. With the money the CA's put in and my staff maintaining it, we're in really good shape. Now, what we don't have is some of the amenities that the newer buildings have for our fans, from clubs to more food options. So everything we're talking about right now, for the most part, is going to be consumer facing. Now, there's some things that we may need to do with our office space, move it around or something like that to create more space in front of the building. But, there's lots of visions, as I said, that ideas. Now we go to work and start, putting it on paper, what makes sense, because the other thing, we just, thanks to the city and the county, $300 million, we won't do all the projects. I think there's 76 projects left on the list. There was 138 or something. I think there's 76 left, and that'll get scaled down as we figure out, we got to prioritize once we prioritize, then obviously the cost becomes a factor because, as Philip said, or Dan said downstairs, is there can't be overruns on this. There's $300 million. It can't be 350. It's got to be 300 million. So, and then the next time, it's going to take us a few months to get things really organized from a contract standpoint. But lots of meetings. In fact, meetings are going to start. There's some meetings today and tomorrow about this. Just trying to prioritize what's important to NC State and us as we try to build out this great arena.
The only thing I would add to that is, while a lot of it is that outward facing and the consumer has changed, right, over the last 20 years. And kudos to the job that your crew has done maintaining this building. I mean, you can see the pride when you walk into this building. It is older, but I mean, there's great pride in what it is. But we also want to focus on, our student athletes' experience. And I know Don does as well with his players when they come in here, to know that it is important, to know that we do care about them and their experience, as well as the fans that are here.
Yeah, Don, this is a sizable financial commitment from the Hurricanes to what's going on. Just how much arm twisting do you have to do with Tom and what questions did he have?
Well, as you know, Tom is a developer. He's developed a lot of property, mostly in Texas. When he sees an opportunity like this, he got excited about it. I can tell you, as you know, I talked to him quite a bit. And he is thrilled about this deal, not only for the hockey team because of the lease, but the development also. It puts out, I think the important thing for all of us is, we had all these exit windows, and there's a lot of people that were skeptical, did he really want to keep this team here? Well, I think by us committing, as was announced today, I give him all the credit. When he took over the franchise in 2018, we weren't in very good shape, and both from a competitive standpoint and a financial standpoint. And now, 5 years later, we've made the playoffs all 5 years. First time franchise done that. Won our division last 3 years. First time for our franchise. He's very, very proud of what we got going on here. And so for him to commit like this, he wouldn't be committing all this money. I know that, if he didn't believe in what we're doing here and what's going to happen here.
I know the PNC Arena name was up in the air for a little while there. Can you clarify what that agreement is?
Well, yeah, we're in the second year of starting in September, I guess. It'll be the second year of continuation of the first deal. So it will expire at the end of the 23-24 season.
The commitment to the small music venue, 3,000 to 5,000 seats, is not something I think we've heard a lot about before, and it's going to be built adjacent to PNC. Where did that idea come from, and what kind of utilization do you think that will get?
Well, I know Tom was talking to some of the concert promoters. We turned down quite a few concerts that are in that size because, first of all, to commit some of the dates, it's hard to do. So when you have an opportunity to bring people in, and we don't want to compete with the other venues here in the city, certainly I think these kind of shows, I know how many we turned down. There's enough of them to go around, and this could be a multi-use theater because it's going to be covered. It's going to be indoors, so there could potentially be some other things that could happen inside there. But I think it's something that when we start talking about how many concerts of that size to open the doors here at our building, how expensive it is, it just made a lot of sense to take it to the next level, which now we've got a commitment to do it.
Yeah, Philip, just the affordable housing provision that's in this agreement, just how important was that to getting everybody on board, and especially from the city and county?
It was extremely important. I'm not going to say that was the issue, but it was close to being the issue. To our great enjoyment, Mr. Dundon, without a hitch, agreed to do that. And if you look at this area right now, and I was on the city council for 8 years, I mean, I was sitting in the seat of the people that were making these decisions, but this area, really, it's a bunch of state-owned property and a lot of grass and trees. With the bandwidth enhancement, or the building, that 2,500 people will be there, the HHS project at Blue Ridge, that corridor is going to continue to explode. And today, the network of greenway, bike paths, road network, truly someone can live here and go to work for HHS or go to work for bandwidth without ever having to set foot on a road, and they can do it by greenway connection. That's an incredible thing. I think that this potential development project is going to be the greatest thing to happen to West Raleigh since North Carolina State decided to build its university there. It's going to really be the catalyst for an extraordinary entrance into our city from the airport and everything that's happening on Blue Ridge Road with the state-owned properties. It can only get better, but that affordable housing piece really allowed us to move forward in a fashion that solidified the support from the city and the county.
And I can tell you, it came late in the process, and I think it was a short conversation, and Tom agreed to do it very quickly. We talked about what that was important for the project.
Yes.
Don, can you discuss the NHL's involvement with their commitment to an all-star game and another outdoor game as a part of this?
Yeah, again, Dan Barrett, if you don't know Dan's been representing the CA and negotiating this deal. He's got a relationship with the NHL, and he, as part of his lease, had talked to Gary Bettman about the two things we talked about, acquiring an all-star game within a few years, I think 3 years after after the renovations are done, and then committing to another outdoor game. Dan asked me if he wanted to get it committed in the next 2 years. I said, don't give me 5 years. We need some time off here. But yeah, so the NHL is committed within reason, of course, both on an all-star game and another outdoor game.
Joseph Holloway, CBS 17. Can you give me a little bit more clarity in terms of on the housing? It says affordable workforce and or faculty. So what do you mean specifically by those last two? What do we know? Have an idea of what it will look like?
Well, so the best efforts will be made at having 80% adjusted median income, which for a family of four in Wake County today is about $91,000. So this is truly designed for teachers, firefighters, police officers, folks that are maybe not C-suite folks at HHS or bandwidth, but that's the desire is to, as we continue to grow and expand in our region, one of the things that we hear a lot about from the electeds is the pressure of affordability of the housing stock. This was a way for the owner to honestly provide a relief valve for that concern, and I think in a very meaningful fashion.
Thanks.
Anybody else? All right. Great. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.